The Bitcoin and crypto markets just got lit on fire with Trump's executive order. Also talking about XRP, Solana, Cardano, and we've got some more news coming up. At the end of this week, we'll likely have some more coins that are going to be included in that crypto reserve. We're about to hop into this, but we got to get the Bitcoin, the crypto pump song back on right now. Everybody hit that retweet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, and let's make sure that we can get in the vibe. Everybody get active in the live chat. We are live on Twitter. We are live on YouTube. Let's get into this. Let's jam. We got some charts to share today, baby. Let's go.
Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. SEC and its policies rely on whatever Gary thinks. Bitcoin's a flight to quality. I heard that from Larry Fink. Every hour losing purchasing power on foolish shelter. It's not our fault. Blame the coal. It's the political cowards. When it comes to gas, our purchasing power just got cut in half. I sit back and laugh, open my bag, fill it with stacks and sats. Bitcoin, pumping, altcoins, pumping. I've been preparing for this. Can't tell me nothing.
And I believe crypto will play a type of role.
I think it's time to jump into the charts. Look at the signals. What is going on? Price is crashing right now, but is it just offering that setup before the price absolutely moonshots? Everybody, let's get active. Put your hand on your heart. Tell yourself you are thankful for yourself. Tell yourself you're thankful for this air that we breathe. Tell yourself that you're thankful that we're in this position to take advantage of the best opportunity of our lives. Everybody, let's get into it. Hit that like button. Let's go. What an absolutely incredible weekend we had. Sunday, I did a massive Spaces on Mario Nawfal's channel, co-hosting along with Drew from Blockchain Basement, where we were breaking down that new Trump executive order regarding the crypto reserve, specifically naming XRP, Solana, and Cardano, all of which had moonshot price action right after that. And a lot of people were wondering, why wasn't Bitcoin mentioned? Why wasn't Ethereum mentioned? How come Link is not involved? How come Ondo's not? Well, who gives a shit about any of that? Let's take all the things as they get laid out, as they play, and realize that you may be ahead of the curve with some of these that will get listed in the near future. For specifically Link, specifically Algorand, specifically HBAR. We're going to be talking about all that and more. We got Kevin Svensson and Matthew Hyland coming on in about 10, 15 minutes, but I got some things I have to break down now. As we roll into this, everybody, welcome to the show. My name's Kellam, and we've got some things to break down because I want to make sure that all of you can stay on the right side of the trend. I hope you're all feeling good. Hope you're all feeling grateful. Hope you realize all those months of frustration, or even if it's just a few weeks, regardless of where you bought or sold, the market does that. It gets to the point where we're at max fear. Do you guys remember this? Last week I was talking about we are on that sort of fear and greed index at around 10, meaning everybody was so fearful. And that obviously, what did it do? Yet again, rinse and repeat. It marked the bottom of that move, and then we had moonshot price action afterwards. Of course, this is that move that we were talking about right here. Bitcoin surges as Trump announces U.S. crypto strategic reserve, specifically named XRP, Solana, and Cardano. And what we saw on the market when that happened almost immediately was a massive push up in price action on those assets. Everybody was then debating, why didn't he announce or mention Bitcoin or Ethereum when all regards, I think that was kind of a given that Bitcoin was going to be a part of it. And if Ethereum also already is in works with ETFs and all the things that we've seen with big money stacking into those, that was going to be a part of it too. And very shortly after that post from Trump, he did then acknowledge, of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum are included also, as well as other cryptocurrencies. Now, what are we going to look to figure that out? We're going to get into that here in just a few minutes. But as we do, every single one of you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ding the bell, make sure you are retweeting this on the page. Make sure you're following me over here on my Twitter profile right here. We're pushing up near 40,000, I don't even want to call them subscribers, friends, 40,000 friends here on Twitter. I can never get to calling it X. But make sure you're, if you're watching live over here on X, we got about 150 people in there. Hit that retweet, hit that like button. Maybe we'll do a giveaway today if we can get over 30 retweets on this post here on my page. It's also there at Academy BitLab. Now, diving into some of the things we want to talk about today. The market, oh my God, it's breaking down. It's over. It's over. But let's talk about this a little bit, because before we get into that, yes, he did mention XRP. Yes, he did mention Solana. Yes, he did mention Cardano. And what did we see about 2 weeks ago? We saw a $1.41 billion hack on Binance. And this is one of those imperatives that every single one of you needs to get through your head. Don't keep your crypto on exchange unless you're actively trading it or plan to trade it in the very, very near future. Get it off exchange, get it onto a crypto cold storage solution. Our partner here at the channel, Arculus, you can see the badge up, where's my hand? The badge up there above my head, Arculus. Head over to getarculus.com. Arculus supports all of those tokens: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Cardano. So make sure you are protecting yourself. Head over to getarculus.com. Use code BitLab, BITLAB 20, BitLab 20 for 20% off. Now, diving in to some of these other things we want to talk about. Who led the surge in price action? Well, what do you know? The big money players. Those people that aren't being little bitches because the market is frustrating with price action. No, you need to buy when there's blood in the streets. Okay. Now, in this case, we got a little bit of a positive sort of bone thrown out to the dogs here with that acknowledgement from regarding the crypto reserve. But we saw the whales really stacking in here. And we have some other news also that I think is scaring some people. What is that news? Well, we're going to get to that in 1 second, but I want to point out something that happened. And Kevin's going to be able to illustrate this a bit more clearly when he comes on. And that is this parabola that the price action has just been respecting beautifully. And moreover than just this parabolic trend that is starting to form in such a magnificent way for all of you out there that have been stacking, it also came to, remember that massive move to the downside? People thought it was over. I want to highlight, before we highlight that, I want to highlight the fact that on the charts that I've been sharing here on BitLab Academy, for those of you that have tuned in on a regular basis, this is something that I had outlined for a couple weeks now, all the way back here since the middle of February. Look at this price act. Let me make this a bit more clear in case you think that maybe your eyes don't work, maybe you don't tune in often, maybe this is your first time here. This is what I outlined as a likely possibility for what would happen. Our price action on Bitcoin moved down into this zone, a V-shaped recovery, a little bit of consolidation, and then upside. Now, is this exactly one for one, exactly where the candles are? No, but let's go ahead and go like this, okay? I mean, it's pretty damn close for what we were talking about as a possibility in price action. Now, am I a wizard? No. Do I get things right all the time? Absolutely not. But I've been in this market for 10 years, and I have a pretty good understanding about what will likely play out, not based on the price. Who gives a hell about the price? The price is only a data point in concert with many other data points that we look at. The price structure on the chart, previous range highs, previous range lows, Bollinger Bands, giving you the idea of the volatility within the market, where there's a lot of volatility or a constriction, the relative strength index, and then also what is the context outside of the chart? What are the narratives going around at play that are bringing headwinds of fear or support and a positive vibe in the market? So considering that and realizing that we had a $16,000 wick, do you understand? This is what we call a demand wick. Why? Because the bears tried. What this illustrates is that the people that thought price was going to go down, the bears, they're betting into that, selling into this price action, and the bulls said, who the fuck do you think you are? And bought this right the hell back up, creating this massive wick, giant hammer candle. These hammer candles demonstrate that the bears tried, they failed, AKA the bear momentum is waning, which means the bull momentum is gaining. That's what you need to realize. Now, within this also suggests, on the futures market, which closes Friday, it's more on a traditional schedule. The futures market closed on Friday, opened on Sunday. And because of that massive news story, that saw a huge amount of bullish buying pressure in the market, we got this massive gap in price action on the futures market. Because remember, it's closed from Friday evening all the way through Sunday evening. Price action moved up during Sunday afternoon. Because of that, the price opened up here. We have a massive gap all the way down to about 85.3, I believe it was. And I wanted to point this out before we throw it over to Matthew and Kevin, and that is this right here. Everybody's super bullish. It's so great. Oh my God, this means there's likely bullish reversal. It's going to start to the moon. Well, calm your horses. Be patient. You have to let things develop. And that is this. Understand we have this futures gap. Boom. These futures gaps tend to get filled. I personally don't think this is going to get filled all the way, but I did say if price draws down to fill or attempt to fill this gap, don't lose your minds. There's going to be so many people who go, I knew it was a trap, and then they sell short, boom, and then they get wrecked. Don't do that. Don't be a fool. Hint, the bull trend is dominating right now. We are in a bullish trend since January of last year, okay? Don't expect a full fill all the way to 85,000. Some people, even if you're bullish, maybe you got out, you're waiting to get back in, maybe you're looking to add to your positions. If you see the price action come down in here and you have your only limit order buy or your target that you're going to go in and buy yourself manually, if you're only waiting for this, you may not get it. You may get left behind. Now, maybe we fill this all the way down and continue to break down, but with what I'm seeing, with the positive impact of where we're going in this market, only getting stronger by the day, any dip right now in the market is a buying opportunity. Now, with that being said, I have a couple more things I want to roll through, and then I'm going to throw it over to our boys waiting in the wings. And that is right here. Oh my God, guys, what are we doing? It's definitely going to crash. Oh my God. Should we have a support therapy group because the price action moves like it regularly does in any asset ever? Well, first off, yes, BlackRock is selling. Oh my God, they sent 3,000 Bitcoin, $270 million to Coinbase. They're going to be, well, remember, there's also T-1 on these assets. So if there's a huge amount of selling pressure on Friday, the likelihood that this sell pressure is actually from the sentiment of sales on Friday from those ETFs. Okay, so it's not BlackRock selling. It's the clientele that bought the BlackRock ETF that now they have to basically close those positions. That would be my guess. Now, I could be wrong. Very rarely am wrong, but I could be wrong. But this is also met almost immediately after with Fidelity, which also, just like BlackRock, they have clientele that are buying the Fidelity ETF products. Now, look at this. Fidelity bought $140 million worth of Bitcoin for their ETF. So this noise right now is just noise. We're going to look at these charts. We're going to dive in with the OGs here in just a second, and also realize the bullish case is getting stronger. USDC, stablecoin, inflow to Coinbase, AKA let's prepare our crypto assets in stablecoin form that have been in cold storage or that have not yet been minted. Let's move them onto an exchange so that we can purchase. This is, guys, the setup we have right now makes me want to cry in a compassionate way for anybody that is bearish on anything going on in price action right now. Beyond that, we see the U.S. Senate is set to vote on repealing the IRS crypto broker rule that poses a threat to DeFi. More bullish news. The impact and the actions that's happening from this administration looking forward only leads to a more bullish trajectory over time. Does that mean we can't pull back a little bit in the meantime? No. In fact, if we do pull back, this tells me it's a better opportunity for buying. So let the market manipulate, let it sell, it's going to resolve for the most part to the upside. Not every coin, not every asset. So this is why you have to be smart. This is why we keep you informed here on a daily basis on the BitLab Academy stream. Now, a couple more things I wanted to highlight before we get into the charts and the discussion with Mr. Matthew Hyland and Kevin Svensson. I see them waiting there in the wings. Is this more supercharged fuel for the Bitcoin rocket ship? I said shit. I didn't mean to say that. The Bitcoin rocket ship may be about to put the crypto market in full send mode. You see what I'm saying? What's happening right now with our administration, what we're doing and the impact in supporting crypto and attracting liquidity and building and development, and all the things that have been the opposite of that in the previous administration is only now indicating to other nations and other people geopolitically that they need to get involved as well. We can get into a couple more things here in just a second, but no matter what you're doing this weekend, whether you are on a date with an absolutely gorgeous girl somewhere, having some Persian food, holding hands, looking in each other's eyes, or maybe you were fearful and you're sad and you're just loathing that the market wasn't ripping, only to see Sunday the market absolutely explodes to the upside. We are here on a daily basis to make sure that we can change the lives of our friends, our family, our future, so that we can be a better impact on everybody around us. So now, right now, before we hop into these wonderful souls that are waiting in the wings, I want every single one of you, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, and make sure you head over too. And I'm going to call Matthew out because he never shares this. But every single one of you, head over to the Kellam page right here. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Twitter. Let's get this out to as many people as possible because we're about to have some supreme alpha dropped by two of my favorite analysts in the space. And I'll share that link in the live chat. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can share this out too. If we get 30 retweets and you live in the US, we will pick one winner and I will send you a $100 value Oculus. If you're not in the US, I'll know, but based on the address you provide, we will do a USDT giveaway of equivalent value. Big love to every one of you. Now, with that being said, let me set these roles. Let me get these home skillets in here. Just so I talk to these guys off this as well. These are my friends. We met through the crypto, the crypto verse, but they are phenomenal at looking at what's going on in the market. How you doing, my guys?
What's up, man?
What's up? How's it going?
Man, I'm in here high energy, and then I throw it to Matthew. What's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, because it's the morning. It's the morning, man. I'm waking up.
You sound like you sound like an uncle talking to like a girl that's like a mistress. You're like, yo, so what's up? How you doing, baby?
No,
I'm just teasing.
And I feel like for a lot of like newer people, they see all this price action and they're like, oh my god! But if you're in crypto long enough, it kind of just is another Monday. Like it's pretty good Monday though. Like it's cool. Like we had a huge bounce, but also Bitcoin tends to do this kind of thing a lot throughout its history. So if you've been through several cycles, you'll have seen, especially like 2017, like that bounce yesterday was like a 2017 style rebound.
Well, it's the first candle that was a $10,000 candle too, as well, wasn't it?
16,000.
Well, there was a $16,000 wick on the weekly, but I think there was a $10,000 candle on the daily, I believe. I could be wrong, but either way, it was spectacular price action. And I want to point that out because the night before, on my way to go on a date, I got there a little early, so I ended up calling my boy, actually, I don't know if you called me or I called you, but me and Matthew were talking about what's going on in the market and how different this could be because liquidity focus and and then what do we see Sunday? The market just absolutely changes the course of action. And one of the things I want to point out to everybody paying attention, and I also want to get y'all's perspective. I was a little bit on the fence about how this market was going to go, this market cycle in terms of altcoins, because it felt like with the ETFs and everything going on that a lot of the liquidity focus was likely going to be siloed to Bitcoin and maybe Bitcoin and ETH, maybe another top, maybe Solana, something like that, but primarily Bitcoin. And now that this tweet came out, specifically calling out XRP, Solana, and Cardano, and then I truly believe we're going to have some other assets that are added to this reserve here in the coming days, Friday or beyond. It seems like this puts the world on notice, big money players. Okay, we can diversify broadly, not specifically only into Bitcoin. Do you feel like that shift has happened, or am I just being far too optimistic? I'll ask you first, Kev.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting this cycle so far. There's been a big concentration into high caps, and we've seen now recently what happened yesterday. If you looked at the market, you saw obviously Bitcoin bounced, and there was a lot of high caps that were up big. What was the common theme behind them? They were mostly U.S. based, or U.S. They were made in the U.S., right? So like Trump, America first, that whole thing. That's part of the narrative now in crypto, whether you like it or not. Like we have some of the best fundamental news, from the government regulatory side, and you're seeing all these U.S. based coins pumping. I think it's giving a green light to a lot of bigger players out there. It's sort of showing them what to buy in a way. So I think for this cycle, one of the narratives that I guess is kind of like a little bit of a curveball, because I don't think people totally saw it coming like a year ago or like before the election, but US based tokens is going to be a
Yeah, it's
huge narrative.
this right here, and it's not just the U.S. ones. We got these different concentric Venn diagram, and I'm really looking at what is kind of tapping the majority of these. We got Coinbase 50 index. We've got the World Liberty Finance, which is obviously Trump's company, or was his company. Now that he's president, other people are running, and then of course Made in the USA. And there's a number of coins that are within all these, and the only one that's in every one of these is Link, which surprises me that it's not listed yet. But you know what was going on this last week while ETH Denver was going on? The Chainlink team was all over there in DC, talking to legislators, talking to the White House, talking to. In fact, I have. Let me just share this really quick. Where is it at? Right here. Just for perspective, I think everybody should pay attention to this. Let me make sure the system audio is working. And this is from Sergey Nazarov, founder of Chainlink. Let's hear what he said.
But proof of reserves for me is really just the beginning of proof of a lot of things. Proof of liability, proof of solvency, proof of composition, proof of many things.
I entirely agree with what you just said. I was just thinking about how to phrase this. In Washington, people sort of started to pay attention to the crypto community in 22 in earnest and try to think about what do we do from a regulatory policy perspective to protect consumers, et cetera. And there was a bipartisan effort in maybe early 2023 to provide proof of reserves and to require it for custodians and exchanges and people who were taking control over an individual's assets. And so I think it may end up being one of the great use cases that Washington wakes up and sees. If you can cryptographically prove that you have custody and ownership over the assets that you say you do, and you can do it in a very real-time, instantaneous manner, that's pretty powerful. And you can see how that would be transposed into many different aspects of traditional finance as well.
But proof of
So that right there, I mean, the interconnectedness that Chainlink has. I mean, I would argue, and yeah, am I a Link maxi? Maybe. It's one of my largest altcoin holdings. But the fact that it's so integrated through all the largest number of integrations or partnerships across crypto, and it bridges the gap of Web 2 and analog traditional finance with the world of Web 3 and cryptographically proven data and interoperability. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, to me, it's the best. It's a better investment to me outside of Bitcoin than Ethereum is.
Yeah, I mean, you could say there's a pretty good, like you can make a pretty good case as to why Chainlink should be, top whatever, like somewhere closer to where Solana is. You can make that argument. The thing is, it's just there's the reason why it's not is it's hard to get hype. Like there was hype for Chainlink early on, right? I mean, I was following Chainlink for many years, but the hype is such a big thing in crypto. When there's not that too much liquidity, and you don't have too much hype, then it's difficult to get the price to go up and sustain those levels. But I do think that Chainlink probably should be, well within or closer to the top 5.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Well, so let's give the people what they want. We got everybody in the room. As you guys, everybody piles in, make sure you're heading over there and retweeting the live stream on Twitter so everybody can hop in here. It's at my page at Kelly Kellam. If we get this up to 30, I will do a giveaway today. We'll randomly draw at the end. We may go just a little bit past 1:30 because there's supposed to be a conversation or a mention or something from Trump. If I had to guess what that investment mention is, it's probably going to be the TSMC investment announcement. It's likely not going to be crypto, but there's a lot of things at play here. So I'll throw the charts over to you, Kev, and then I'll have you follow up, Matt, and we'll ping pong what's going on and give people what they're here for, what the hell is going on in this market, and what we are seeing.
Yeah, so yesterday was insane. We had it was a record-breaking weekly demand wick. So Bitcoin, it was a $16,000 plus wick on the weekly. And I think we were about 2% away from the open, just 2%. So that was a record. Never seen a wick that large ever. For percentage terms, sure, but for price, that was the biggest of all time. So that's a pretty good vote of confidence from the bulls, and it signals major demand. this came right in time for us to maintain a parabolic trajectory, an exponential higher low. This was really, I remember the price was coming down right below 80. And I was making a post on Twitter. I was like, this is pretty much it. If we're going to maintain a parabola, this is it. Like we're at the point now where it would bounce. And it stayed down there for, a few more hours or something like that. And we did get a bounce there. And for people that doubt this, I mean, you can just do this yourself. You just pull out your curve line tool and you go from the low and you just match it up with your low. I mean, it fits like a glove, right? That just fits right within. You don't even have to adjust it. So Bitcoin has maintained it. The question is, are we going to get another parabolic advance? Are we going to get continuation up? Well, usually when that happens, Bitcoin is breaking the weekly RSI downtrend, right? This weekly RSI breakout signal is one of my favorite, one of the most powerful and oftentimes reliable signals for signaling major uptrends in the market. And if you just mark up every time we had a weekly RSI downtrend and every time we broke it, it was huge moves, like major. We're talking like 90%, 75%, 100%. That was the last time we had it right after the election. Every single time you zoom in with a long-term one, this one led to a 95% move up to this high. And then this breakout led all the way up to that ETF approval/rejection candle. And then this one here, this weekly RSI breakout, 70%, 73, 75%. The election weekly RSI breakout, 100%. And so we are currently down. We have rejected the weekly RSI downtrend. Now, this current weekly, well, the last weekly RSI that we were just in, at one point, it was positioned all the way down. The weekly RSI was like all the way down here, like below 50, like 47. But then we bounced into the end of the week. And so it closed here at 58. And currently, it's down at 53 because we're down on this Monday at the beginning of the week. But the way that this week ends is going to be very crucial, I think, for the weekly RSI. If we were to bounce, right, it's Monday, we're starting the week down a little bit, right? Red weekly on the first day of the week. If we close green, the weekly RSI may actually be able to close above the resistance line. And if we do get that type of a close, well, as we've seen before, humongous uptrends. Our biggest uptrends take place after those breakouts. So that's what I'm looking for this week for Bitcoin. Big signal pending. We'll see. Obviously we need to bounce to get that cross or the breakout, So we'll see, right? This is one of the more pivotal moments for Bitcoin's trend. Every time there's a weekly RSI breakout, it's months, right? It's like multiple months up. Weekly RSI downtrend, you break out multiple months up. And there's only a very small few of those multiple months up within every cycle. So it's a big deal when it happens. It's where the money's being made, right? So that's definitely what I'm looking for, or looking out for. I forget exactly what you asked me, Kelly. What was it again?
No, just what you were looking at. So, that was perfect. One of the things I wanted to highlight too is, Matt dropped off, but I'm sure he'll pop back on here in a second. He might have gotten a call or something. But it's looking at the total chart. Now, one of the things that I'm doing now, based on some of the conversations I've had with Matt, because it really is spot on, the total market cap chart doesn't really represent, it's hard to represent it directly to price as well, because you have a lot of token unlocks. You also have USDT, USDC, and there's a number of other stable coins, but the largely dominant stable coins that are out there are USDT and USDC. So as you can see here, what I did was, if you all want to figure out how to do this, quick tip, you don't have to click up here to find something. You can just click on the chart and then start typing TOTL minus USDT minus USDC. that subtracts those stable coins from this. And what I want to point out here is this incredible trend that we have, that not only this rising, almost, it's kind of like a bull flag, but it's not because of the descending broadening wedge, but very bullish in structure. Broke out, retested, launch into basically a bull pennant, sort of falling wedge, however you want to measure that. But if you were to measure this, just to point out to you guys, this move right here, if you measure that out, I mean, boom, that puts us up on the total market cap to potentially up here above $5 trillion, which would represent a massive growth for the majority of the coins that you have in your portfolio. Not all, some of the coins. I want you all to know right now, Kevin can tell you, I'll tell you, I don't care how much conviction you have on a particular coin. Luna was in the top 10 and it died in about 36 hours from tens of billions of dollars down to zero. Now, am I predicting that happens again this cycle? Probably not, but we have to be prepared for it. But the fact of the matter is, the majority of the market, I think, is going to do pretty well. And this is that, that next sort of measured move target up and out of this. But I personally really do think that we are doing really well in this market. Now, what would be your case right now? Because when we look at the CME futures, let me go ahead and make this a little smaller. Double click here. We got a washout. Would you consider the CME futures gap closed with this coming down so nearly to the bottom of this, coming back up?
Well, we got inside of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, we got 95% of the way through it. Came all the way down to about 78.
It's closed.
What's that?
It's closed.
Yeah, that's what I would say too. And now we have this new gap. Which, and I quote tweeted your tweet yesterday and then added in that the gap, because we had this massive wick, but then now we also have the gap below us. And for me, this is great because the gap is here. This tells me most people are going to get trapped in this bear trap. Oh, it's dead. It's actually breaking down. But I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity. Anywhere in this range is a good buying opportunity for me. I do think that this will more likely than not resolve to the upside, but we'll have to see. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I was, I remember, I think, when was it? Well, are you showing my chart? There you go. I was looking at my, social media, like my chat rooms and stuff. And when this move started to happen on the 4 hour, people were like, what the hell? We're going down. What the hell? Like, they were shocked. And it's kind of funny, but like, when did the market ever just do this? Right? It doesn't do that. It's always oscillating, right? It's not going to do this. I mean, of course, there might be moments in Bitcoin history where that happened, probably several times, but it's just not that's not how it goes.
Dude, even beyond that, look at where that, put a horizontal line where that recent pump topped out.
Up here?
No, the candle bodies. Like put your mouse. Put your mouse, put your mouse right there. Now press Alt H.
I don't know the shortcuts. You know all the shortcuts.
Is it Control H? Yeah.
But no, it is Alt H. Yeah.
Is it just
wait? So what was your point with that?
Is it very dim? I can't see it. Is my point. It should look like this. Watch.
You mean
since
you
don't know how to do it, look at this.
Right
so
there.
Coming back over here, if we come right here, if I put my mouse right here, Alt H, see how I put a horizontal line, and look at where all these
blue line.
Yeah, bounce. And where did the price actually come up to? Right into the previous range low. So it's almost like not only the range low, the descending level of resistance that this falling wedge is in. This is a Coinbase chart. Beautiful falling wedge here, a little deviation down, fine. But the price actually came right up into this intersection of the horizontal previous range lows and the descending level of resistance right here. This is exactly where it rejected. So the bull trend on this move is over, right? Absolutely not, guys. I'll throw it back to you. It's just funny to me. People get so butthurt that it doesn't just do a straight line all the way up to $382,000 in one move.
So exactly, it's very people are so like finicky, and they're so just like, I don't know. human beings in general, they just can't take any uncomfortable feeling at all. And I think that's one of the things that like separates people that are experienced and not, is like just being willing to deal with these types of moments. Like, it's okay, you can relax. Sure, we went down, but this is Bitcoin. This is the roller coaster you decided to get on, and here we are. Bitcoin currently, here I'll say this though, Bitcoin currently is in a lower high, lower low trajectory from the high. Now on the long term, right, it's up. The trend is up, the pressure is up, right? The trend is your friend. Clearly the trend, if you bought that dip, you're up. The trend is still your friend. On the 4-hour though, you're looking from the high, it is lower lows, lower highs. So there's a little bit of a question mark, although again, the weekly close was very convincing. We did get decently high volume on the weekly, on the Coinbase weekly volume, which I like. Coinbase weekly volume, it's one of my favorite indicators. You can see the weekly volume here was exceeding a lot of these previous levels. And some people will say, well, Kev, it's, and I have my volume grayed out. People will say, oh my God, it's a big red weekly volume, right? A lot of people, will look at the color. But what matters more than anything is the amount of volume in the direction of the price, not the color. It's the amount and the direction of the price. And so in this case, we had a huge move down, followed by a massive move, the largest move in Bitcoin history in dollar terms for a weekly wick, right into the 2% away from the close. So it wasn't just down. So you're looking at that weekly volume, and most people, they would see a red weekly volume and they would just say, oh, bad. But there was a very equal opposite reaction on this move. That was a support bounce. And on that support bounce, basically, it's very misleading when you're just looking at the color, because if Bitcoin had just gone up 2% more, it would have been a green close, right? A green. So you see the point. The amount of volume in the direction, in this case, it ended neutral, but it was a big support bounce. That's a pretty, a decent signal. I wish it was a little higher. I wish the weekly volume was, maybe as high as some of these previous bars, but still good enough, right? It was bigger than our August low. If you look at the August wick, right? So a lot of these lows are marked by wicks. The August low, big wick. Look at that weekly volume. And the one we just had was actually slightly higher than the August low, which did act as a major market low. And so we got another wick with the same type of volume signature. It's sufficient. It worked in August, right? So it could be, at least, at the very least, it's a long-term support level. Like if you look at, for example, when you're doing volume analysis, looking at your volume signatures, if you look at 2018, when Bitcoin hit 6,000, huge weekly volume signature. It wasn't the bottom, but what was it? A major support for almost a year, right? So it was a major zone. It put in support for a year, basically, right? So when you're looking at it here, okay, we got like a decent volume candle. If you want to just entertain the bearish side of things, okay, even if it's not going to be the low, it'll probably be a support for quite a long time. It'll act as some kind of support before maybe a breakdown later, just to entertain the other side of the coin, right? But in this case, we're still in a parabolic trend. Things still look healthy. And that's a pretty good volume signature, bigger than August, could still act as a low. Why not, right? I don't see why not. So
no, yeah, go ahead. No, I was going to ask you, I mean, is Ethereum falling further and further out of the narrative? I mean, it feels like, especially, is it still going to have its day in the sun? It feels like it feels like there's no attention on ETH whatsoever. The only attention that's there is bad. It's not good. The only flip thing I'll say about that is, on the other hand, when an asset like this within crypto tends to have such a negative or lack, like all the air is sucked out of the room around it, that tends to be when it reverses. Do you still see ETH coming back into the fold, or are all these other, XRP, Solana, Cardano, are these going to sort of take the narrative this cycle? And it's not that ETH won't perform in some respect, but is it going to perform anything like it's done before, or is it kind of sidelined?
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple thoughts on that. It's interesting when you listen to Larry Fink and he talks about Ethereum and tokenization of assets on Wall Street and real estate, whatever. And he mentions Ethereum. Ethereum is an area of interest for tokenization. And so there's definitely big money interest in it, but it's not cool and exciting right now. So, I mean, you could look at it more than one way, but in my mind, I'm thinking, what would be a great way to get as much as Ethereum as you could? A great way would be you suppress it and you let everything else fly. And then people will just let go of the Ethereum, and you can just sit there with your bag and catch all the extra Ethereum that people are letting go of. While everything's going up, you just get what you want, and then you send it up later. Or maybe this cycle Ethereum is more so in an accumulation cycle than it is like a super bull cycle, right? Maybe it's an accumulation cycle, right? Who knows, right? Anything's possible. Anything's possible in markets. Nothing has to happen. Anything can happen. And so it'd be very hard for me to see Ethereum going away. I don't think that's likely. There's a lot of interest from some of the bigger players. I mean, it's still number 2 top coin.
Well, did you see this? Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. This kind of speaks to Solana as well as Ethereum. But this news right here from AIXBT, Base dropped the mic with flash blocks, 200 millisecond block times coming in Q2, straight up 2 times faster than Solana. App chain scaling solution about to deliver 10x the capacity. Bridge fees locked at $1. Platform eating 83% of the roll-up fees. TVL went parabolic, 300 million to 4 billion in 12 months. Pushing 53% of total throughput. Gas target just bumped to 25 MGAS per second, aiming for 250. I mean, it just seems like, and again, this is on ETH, right? So Base is on ETH. It's the ERC20 protocol, but it's almost like displacing, and oops, wrong button there. Sorry, hold on. It's almost displacing in some ways the need or the arguments for Solana, but also very much so displacing the need for potentially even L2s on Ethereum, which is why, I think, for instance, Aerodrome, I think is going to go parabolic for this, because for those that don't know, Aerodrome is the DEX on Base. Base is also where Coinbase is doing a lot of DeFi. We have a lot of institutional players coming in through Coinbase, doing wrapped Bitcoin, doing all these different sort of transactions, as well as things like Morpho and other things that are all operating within Base. It's kind of making me wonder whether it's just a split decision or, looking at what's going on. I don't know. It's hard for diversification is key, obviously, here, but it leads me to wonder about ETH, other than the massive size of the ecosystem and the potential security of that. I don't know. It's kind of a quandary I'm in thinking about ETH right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of money kind of just flowing into other things. Obviously, Solana kind of was like the killer, the Ethereum killer of the cycle, actually. Like, nothing had ever done that, and nothing has done that. Ethereum is not dead. But for like the so far, it actually kind of killed it. It gave it a big blow. It didn't kill it, but it sort of knocked it over pretty hard for the first time Ethereum got knocked down. And I just think that it's so interesting. But again, like you're saying, Base, Chainlink, many other things. There's so many other infrastructure plays that are surrounding or based on Ethereum. And so eventually, given enough development, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of bigger players out there that do see the value in Ethereum, that it is still the king of alts, especially if Base Chain actually becomes this massive Solana competitor and people start moving on to it and it's the new hype thing, it has momentum, it's new. Maybe it does do that. I mean, Ethereum is the Bitcoin of altcoins at this point. Yeah, it's expensive, it's slow, but it's the Bitcoin of altcoins. It's providing infrastructure for so many things. And if Base Chain really, really starts to rip, like if it just starts to get massive usage, then Ethereum is going to, get accumulated. It may not be accumulated by the degens, but it will be by, all the top players.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, for anybody out there that thinks you make 3 trades and you won all 3 trades and you got the whole market figured out. I'm telling you right now, Kevin's been in this game about as long as I have. This market changes every cycle, but I want to throw it back to you and actually pull up a couple charts. That's not what I wanted to show. Where there's too many things.
Where's Matthew?
Here. I don't know. He did. I sent him a text in our group thread. I said, "Hey, we need your charts." Maybe something came up. Maybe he's having computer issues. But what else are you looking at? Are there any other charts you're looking at? The M2. Oh, that's something I actually did want to highlight. I have a chart here somewhere. Where is it? First off, let me pull this up real quick. Where is? First off, whale alert, Bitcoin whale accumulation gone parabolic. I know I've been sharing this with you guys. Look at this cycle, price action moving up. This is a seismic shift on the world stage of Trump coming into office and his assertion about having a strategic Bitcoin reserve, so on and so forth. Big money players also now having new rules from SAB 121 rescinded regarding banks and their limitation of participating. Also, the FASB rules changing corporate ability to have Bitcoin on their balance sheet. This speaks volumes. I don't know where it went. Oh, right here. This is a chart. Bitcoin perfectly flushed down with the global M2 supply. So this is a global M2 supply kind of leading the move down before Bitcoin. And then look at this. This is starting to trickle up. Are we going to start to see Bitcoin follow that and move to the upside? I would guess yes, but I'd love to see any charts or thoughts that you have regarding that global liquidity.
Yeah, if I pull up, if I go here and maybe pull up M2.
And shout out to everybody that's tuned in. I got over 1,000 people in here. Big love to each and every one of you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and also make sure that you are following. I don't know why I don't have it pulled up. Make sure that you're following Kevin Svensson, and his page is right here. You can follow him right here at Kevin Svensson _. Give him a follow. He's got the cool shades on with the big green dildo rocket right there. So big shout out. Thank you always for coming on Mondays. I always love hearing your alpha, brother.
Yeah, 100%. It's always a good time. But you were saying the M2, right? What do we have to look for with this? So we had, it kind of leads Bitcoin. It certainly does. Every bull cycle, M2 first goes up, then Bitcoin follows. And so at least with this M2 that I have on TradingView, I'm sure there's a few variations. We had it pull back into December and slow down. And it was like right when M2 started to bounce, Bitcoin sort of lags and follows that pullback a little bit, it seems like. And now M2 is coming up, Bitcoin's bouncing. But what I think is an interesting detail is that usually on the second breakout, I guess it depends on the cycle you're looking at, but oftentimes there's so these are both candles. On the bottom here is the M2. The M2 will break out, and then when it breaks out again, Bitcoin's getting really bullish. And then in the next cycle, I guess you can't really use COVID. Wait, sorry, hold on. Let me move this over. M2 breaks out, right? Bitcoin sort of lags. I think the S&P was going up at this point. But on that second leg up, that's kind of when the whole bull market occurs for crypto. And so over here, we had one breakout, and it's like, well, we're coming up on the second breakout. And the reason why I think this is because the M2 has been sitting at 2022 levels. It was just at the 2022 highs, just about in January. So it barely saw any growth. And so that kind of explains a lot of things, especially in the alt market. Like, why aren't alts going up? Well, global liquidity is sitting at the same spot as right before the bear market. There's not much growth. And if you go back, oftentimes, it's just kind of way up. Like, it has this drawdown, and then it's just like new high, new high, new high, new high. Especially 2020, new highs the whole time. We were just in January 2022 levels. So there just hasn't been enough growth in global liquidity, right? So this may be going for a second breakout. I'm thinking maybe that'll be a signal for the market. It could drive bullish speculation, maybe. That's how I've been looking at it for the M2.
Awesome. It looks like we got Matt back. He had to go pay his internet bill, but he's back on. Did you do the tab thing so we don't have the robot voice?
Your
muted.
Your mic's not on.
Oh wait. He's coming. He'll come back on in a second. Yeah, I mean, I'm super bullish on that. You know, we also have the COVID bank term lending, which is almost $1 trillion that's coming back to the market here.
I should be
not
good
coming
now.
back to the market. Yeah, you should be good now. Make sure you do the tab thing on the audio so we don't get the robot voice.
All right, we're good.
But yeah, so we've been going over the Bitcoin, Ethereum, also the global money supply. But let's see some of the things that you're looking at, Matthew, and what you're seeing. It could be, you know, wherever you want to take it.
So I'm just looking at the Bitcoin weekly chart, and I think we left last week when we ended the show last week. I basically said, like, my advice to people is to just take time away from crypto and staring at the charts all day, because if you stare at the charts all day, first off, you're going to go crazy and you're just going to buy into a lot of the noise. And if you know, let's say you didn't look at Bitcoin at all for the past week, essentially since like the last weekly close, you would have never known that there was a huge dip or anything. And a lot of people who basically stared at the charts all week, right, were making decisions, and the weekly close ended up closing above the support, well above it actually, right? This was a strong weekly close. And I think it's just when you're staring at the charts all day, nonstop, and you don't have to, I don't think it's too beneficial. And this is a perfect example. If you just ignored last week, if you didn't look at all, you would have never known, right? It was just a huge dip and then just a huge wick at the end of the day. And people can say it was because of like the news stories, but I mean, there was a clear, and I posted this on Twitter. This was on Saturday night, I think. There was a clear inverse head and shoulders pattern right here on the 4-hour time frame. This was the left shoulder. This was the head, and then this was the right shoulder over here. I posted this. So regardless of the news story, there was a play right there. Inverse head and shoulders in play. And then as well, during the night of the capitulation, let me see if I could find it. I posted it on my Twitter, but at like the very low point, the RSI on pretty much every single time frame, the monthly, the weekly, the daily, the 12-hour, everything was basically at lows not seen since 2023. I have it right here. I'll share it right here. So I posted this literally like at the bottom, I guess you could say, when Bitcoin was 79.6K. And I didn't know if it was the bottom or not. I wasn't trying to say it was the bottom. It was more or less just saying that Bitcoin was just in extreme levels, right? The RSI was at the lowest point on all these time frames in over a year. And obviously the RSI is now higher because it's based on the close. It's not based on the price action in between. But it just, I think, like, if you're looking at this structure today, right? And I told my Patreon last night, you should expect a pullback, right? We had the largest candle ever, or one of the largest candles ever, largest wicks for a weekly candle. This was a huge move up. Now you're just seeing it come back into the support, right? This is a support zone around approximately $89,000. This was the wick low. So none of this price action should really scare you. If it is, or if you didn't anticipate some sort of pullback after a huge move up, you just have to get into the mindset of that, whether it's a huge move down or a huge move up. This is not to be surprising, right? And probably a lot of this is really, I think Kevin or Kelly said this before I got kicked off the internet. The ETF stuff, the ETF buyers and sellers weren't able to make any moves last night. So when the ETF closed on Friday, I think the price was like 82K or 83K. So now when it opened this morning, Bitcoin was above 90,000. So for the ETF participants, they're able to sell it basically at a 10% higher price than it was on the Friday close. So to see some selling here, that's really not surprising. And as far as the executive order goes, as far as I'm aware, right, and I see a lot of like different opinions and different takes for a lot of people. The executive order is probably, it's going through. I mean, it doesn't need to get pushed through Congress. It's an executive order. So when the president signs it, I mean, there could be pushback and stuff. I'm not like the legal political expert by any means, but I asked ChatGPT and everything and basically said, yeah, an executive order, it gets signed by the president. So And the reason I'm saying this is I see a lot of people on Twitter right now saying, "Oh, it's Congress and the Senate, they're not going to pass it and stuff."
Well,
It doesn't
they
go.
may need to. I think the pushback is they may need to approve where the funding comes from when they do start buying. But I think that'll be cleared up fairly easily with all the government spending that's getting slashed from Doge.
Yeah, so it'd probably be money from there and whatnot. And really, the only question I actually have is, which we don't know, and this could be the curveball that kind of, no one's actually talking about, is maybe the crypto that they're putting into the reserve is just crypto that they've seized through government action, through legal action. I don't think that is the case. I don't think they would have announced it like this if it was going to just be crypto that's seized. I think it's more likely than not they're looking to buy. So I think that's what's more likely here, as far as that goes.
Okay, Matthew, you're the one that put me on to Dog. So give us a report on Dog. You got to look at the chart. You got to give us a breakdown. What's going on
No
with
alts
Dog?
today.
What's that?
I was going to go to Bitcoin dominance next. We didn't even get to.
We'll get to Bitcoin dominance then, baby. We'll wrap up with Dog at the end.
Bitcoin dominance. This is sitting on this support. If you look on the weekly time frame, there's bearish divergence here. This is bearish divergence. We had another red weekly candle. So far, this weekly candle is currently in the green, but this has been trending downward for the past month. Essentially, this is bearish divergence. We had the largest wick ever. This is also in the same quarter one, where we started to see the breakdowns back in 2017 and 2021. So essentially, this is probably, like, for the alts, this is their best shot to break Bitcoin dominance down. If it doesn't happen now, then it probably won't happen until the Fed changes its monetary policy. We see an end to QT, but it doesn't have a bad setup. This is probably the best setup for Bitcoin dominance to kind of start to see a pullback in a long, long time, just based on the RSI, the large wick, and everything else. So now if we go to Dog, let me see if I can find it. Came back down to the support area. Needs to hold this, right? Important for Dog to hold this. A lot of alts, actually, especially the memes, are down at those levels. And a lot of alts across the board obviously saw a lot of blood. But I do think it goes back into like what you guys were saying earlier with the liquidity. It depends on what goes on with that. And when will QT end? I'm not sure if it's going to end in March. Some people think it will be more closer to the summer. So we'll watch to see what happens with that over the coming months.
Also, are there any other? I know we're still kind of waiting on the market as a whole to really start making some new moves up that are not just rejected at previous range lows. Even with Bitcoin's move up, we just talked about earlier, it just got rejected at previous range lows. We have a gap below us. But are there any alts that you have your eyes on beyond XRP, Solana, and Cardano? Or if you want to look at any of those based on their recent moves, either one of you.
Kevin's got it.
Wait, one of the which alts do you say?
Any alts that you have your eyes on right now before this next move that is likely coming in the near future?
Well, one thing that I'm pretty sure is gonna get some good movement is all the made in the U.S. coins. So everything that's U.S. based, I think it's probably going to be. Hold on, I'm actually trying to. I'm considering actually longing here on my other screen. Sorry.
Dude, in real time, baby. What are you longing? This is not financial advice, everybody. He's like 40x on MOG or something.
No. Wait, hold on. The market's really just, man. Where's the volume? Where's the volume?
I think it's a fake sell-off. I'd love to see it come back to 86.
Well, no, Bitcoin's just recapturing this zone right here. Like this pump is coming back. It's not, I mean, obviously I feel like for most people this is like crazy or something, but it's really not. Like it's above the breakout. It's above the breakout.
And it's a big ass candles of inefficiency. There's no exploration.
So if it finds support above previous resistance, new support, if it does that, no big deal. But if it starts to fail that, and then it would start to go sideways, I mean, that's what you wouldn't want to see. What you want to see is a rebound somewhat soon for Bitcoin, so that we can maintain higher lows, previous resistance, new support. It'd be clean. If it's a clean bounce here, then you might get a quick reaction up, maybe continuation. But yeah, right now we're getting pretty quick. It's a pretty quick pullback right here, guys. But this is about the zone of interest near the breakout for Bitcoin.
Yeah, retest of the breakout probably coming.
Now I'm just looking at it here. Yeah, we don't want the 4-hour MACD to cross down. If it could just bounce before that, I think it'd be all right. Sorry, I'm just like looking at the actual live price action. The daily MACD is still showing momentum's, bears are losing momentum on the daily MACD. Even with this pullback, bears are losing momentum on the daily MACD. So I would not be surprised to see a bounce. Oftentimes, the market will run you in a full circle. It's like you take a breakout long, right? It'll come right back to your entry. If I was going to write a trading Bible, in the Bible, it would say, "Thy price shall return to thy entry before the passage to the moon."
It actually hit the breakout target too. If you take the low of that head to the neckline, it hit it pretty much exactly to the spot
Where?
where the
Which
breakout.
zone?
The head
Yeah,
on
if you
the inverted head and shoulders, measure that deep dip all the way up to the
Yes.
neckline. That target breakout is where we just rejected at.
Gotcha.
You take it pretty much hit it precisely. Ethereum though is looking a little different, but Ethereum at this point, it's interesting, and I don't really see many people saying this, but really the high was March of 2024, and it broke to new lows over the weekend or over the past week. So Ethereum essentially has been in a year-long bear market, which is, I think for a lot of people, especially for the alts, it has kind of felt like a bear market, but I think it's kind of confirmed, at least for Ethereum. And this isn't to say that we're now entering a bear market. It's more or less confirming that Ethereum has been in a bear market for the past year. So it's probably close to exiting. Usually the bear markets last a year, but it's interesting, right? A year-long downtrend, down over, I think, 50%. So that's a bear market by all metrics. So it's like, I think a lot of the crypto stuff is just changing. Bitcoin's been in a bull market. There's a bunch of altcoins in a year-long bear market now. Some altcoins are starting to like make higher highs, like XRP, Cardano. So they're kind of entering their start of a bull market, you could say. So everything is just all over the place in general. But the one common thing for all alts is that Bitcoin dominance hasn't dropped. But maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't drop this cycle. But anything's possible, right? There's always a possibility it doesn't happen. But we'll see what ends up happening when the money printer turns on and the QT ends and et cetera, and the M2 makes new highs.
Yeah, and to paint it clearly too, so many people are looking at Bitcoin and crypto right now very myopically, and they go, "Why is it pulling back?" But then you can come over here and look at the SPX and realize the SPX just had a pretty big move to the downside as well. Now that might not seem big to you because it's only 1.5%. A 1.5% move down on SPX, which is basically the S&P 500, is, I don't want to say equivalent to, but it's analogous to having, a multi-percent move down on Bitcoin and, in the, 5 to 10% down on some of your altcoins. So it's not crypto's crushing right now. No, the market's having a little bit of a choppy reaction right now to a lot of the stuff that's going on more broadly on the geopolitical stage. And Kevin put me onto this thought about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. We were talking on a podcast spaces I used to do on Twitter all the time called Crypto Answered. And talking about the correlation between Bitcoin, talking about the correlation between crypto in general and the stock market. And the correlation conversation jumped to one of the most beautiful things I heard. It's not, is it correlated or not? It's not what's going on with money flow. It's, is there certainty in markets? Is there uncertainty in markets? If there's uncertainty or lack of clarity about what we can expect in the next 3 months, 6 months, or a year, the markets start to de-risk. Now, I would argue that Bitcoin and probably several, not all, but several altcoins as well, are kind of the de-risking thing. It's like you should be investing in these because it's a, a hedge against everything else. But the truth is the big money players are here now in the crypto market. BlackRock, Fidelity, Van Eck, Bitwise, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. I mean, you name it. And the probably 2,000 or 3,000 corporations that are investing now in big amounts of money, not this $100, $100 million. I'm talking billions of dollars. These people have been moving markets around and playing the spreads, both going long and hedging short, but seeing the market starting to move down. So let's jump. Let's actually make the price go lower so we can hit our targets that are lower. And so if there's uncertainty in the markets, which we're feeling still a little bit with this new administration, but Kelly, the new administration was supposed to be so good for crypto. Great. It is good for crypto. We got some shit we got to take care of right now in the markets, in the economy, and on the world stage. And until some of those things are fully hammered out, there's going to be a little bit of uncertainty in markets. And that means if we're so bullish on this market, on these markets within crypto, we should be saying, thank you, sweet Lord, baby Jesus, that you're still giving me this opportunity to buy at these prices. Thank you to the Lord above. Thank you very much. Right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's just basically who said it? Stanley Drunken Miller, investor. He said all the factors that drove the market really since the 1980s are reversing, and he said that a year or two after COVID or 2022. And yeah, it's a lot of the factors that drove up only infinite money, cheap money, just pump, they're in reverse. Or at least they were. And now we're at this point here. So it is a different time, a different place. It's just things are behaving differently, right? Because there's no, free lunch anymore. I think a lot of the concentration, there's just been a lot of concentration into certain assets, certain coins, what people are most confident in, the most certain in. That's why the high caps have been doing well. Or at least, seeing pumps and stuff like that. And another big reason why the low caps haven't seen as much action is because FTX, the trust for crypto, got decimated after FTX. And people don't realize that had a lasting impact all the way into where we are now.
And there's no signs of new retail coming in yet either. So when new retail starts coming in, I think that's when you start seeing them unit bias for one. They're not even buying smaller caps because they have smaller market caps and it's a smart investment decision. They're thinking, oh, I can buy so much of this and it's a new shiny thing. So there's a number of things at play here. Sentiment, lingering sentiment, but also uncertainty. And I couldn't be more excited about where the market's going. Is it a little frustrating? It's not just mooning right now and I'm not taking screenshots yet of my portfolio. Maybe a little bit. But then the cooler head prevails and I figure out, hey man, I can still stack into this before this market runs away. And these are the rails of the future. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited about this, but I know we're coming up.
I was just going to share a thought. And if this cycle doesn't play out to some crazy extent, like a lot of other ones have, and it's just more subdued, like we have an alt season, like we go through the cycle and Bitcoin has a new high and then there's an alt season of some kind. But even if it's not as spectacular, what it might be, one is the macroeconomic stuff that's affecting it. But I'm saying this cycle might be the accumulation cycle, where it's like we're not just pumping straight to the moon, but institutions are here and they're accumulating, and it becomes an accumulation cycle. And as they say, the longer the accumulation, the greater the expansion. And so like the next cycle might be unbelievable, but this cycle might just be like, okay, I mean, it was good, whatever, bad, but we'll see. I mean, we are usually global liquidity will top out like towards 80 weeks post halving. So towards the end of the year, October or so. So there's time. Will the global liquidity cycle remain the same, or is it going to change? Is it going to shift? Is it going to be extended? Is it going to be shortened? It's like, who knows, right? We'll have to see.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Matt, do you have any closing thoughts here?
I would just say, just don't rush to judgment with these candles. I said the same thing last week. Just zoom out. Zooming out is probably like the best advice, because maybe this daily candle ends up reversing. the same way the weekly candle ended up reversing. Like if you didn't watch the charts at all last week, you would have never known all the craziness that you saw pretty much all over the place on X and everything. End up closing right above support at the end of the day. So yeah, just zoom out.
I absolutely agree with that. Well, as always, I appreciate you guys coming on more than I can really convey. I want to just come back over here one more time just to highlight. You guys can follow Kevin Svensson right here at Kevin Svensson _. And then, of course, you can find Mr. Matthew right here at Matthew Highland _. They both have Patreons. They both have communities. They both have streams that they do on YouTube and here on X. But as always, it's always good connecting with you guys and seeing what you're looking at in the markets. I hope every single one of you is feeling grateful for life, regardless of if you're on the struggle bus. All of us are on the struggle bus in some way, whether it's in your emotions, whether it's in your health, find gratitude in the other things that aren't doing bad and figure out what your action plan is to get you off the struggle bus in the areas that you are. But I think that's all we got for today. I'm not waiting on Trump to talk because it might be a while. I'm fairly confident it's going to be more of an economic investment deal like TSMC investing that $100 billion that they just acknowledged this morning.
Or it could be the TikTok thing or something like that.
Yeah.
Where they get 50% of TikTok.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a crypto investment. But hey, guys, remember, we were looking forward to Friday, the first White House crypto summit. We'll have to see how that plays out. There's probably going to be if price is down on Monday, I actually like it. Let's see it resolve a little bit down into Tuesday, Wednesday, likely bit of a turn back to the upside, a little bit of a pullback into Friday, and then we can reassess from there. But great viewership today. Every single one of you tuned in. I appreciate you. I don't think we hit that mark. Let me just check real quick to do the giveaway. I don't think we hit why is that all zoomed in there?
Wait, what's your threshold for a giveaway?
30 retweets on the on the live stream on this guy right here. Boom. We only got 17. So no giveaways. But shout out to everybody. Got 1,000 people tuned in on X. Shout out to each and every one of you. Make sure you're going to follow Kevin. Make sure you're following Matt. What's that?
The retweets started to come in right when you said that a little bit.
I'll give it 2 minutes. But what coins? Give everybody, drop a little secret alpha here. What 2 coins are you most excited about over the next, over this cycle, however long it is, outside of Bitcoin and ETH?
Are you talking to the chat?
Talking to you.
To me?
Yeah.
Bitcoin, I'll just go with an easy answer. Chainlink.
That's one. You got to give a second.
I think Sui. Sui is probably a good choice. Like safe and good,
Yeah. What about you, Matt?
Peanut and Mog.
Yeah. I'm dead on that one. You're lying. I know you're lying. Give me 2 real ones.
SPX 6900.
Okay.
Are you all in alts now? You're 100% altcoins?
All in SPX 6900.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
I know for a fact you have probably.
Wait, what are yours? Kelly, what are yours? What are yours?
Chainlink and Ondo would be my top 2. Aerodrome would be right behind that because of Aerodrome doing everything on base.
Yeah, Ondo's. I was actually that went through my head when you asked me, but Aerodrome. If base becomes, people are calling it the Solana killer or something now. Apparently, Aerodrome is probably going to rip if it has anything, takes up any market share. So yeah.
Well, if it does anything like what we saw with Uniswap got, let's actually pull that up. Uniswap, this is just ridiculous. This would be like a $20 Aerodrome. Uniswap, let's see. Uniswap, let me share this. Uniswap got to market cap. Let's go to all. It got to nearly $22 billion, $22 billion market cap. And Aerodrome currently is sitting, I think it's well under $1 billion. It is sitting, 487 million. That's a what?
Wow.
50x.
It dropped 50%. I remember it was at $1 billion. That's a good opportunity right there.
Yeah. I actually was looking at that chart earlier. Where is Aerodrome? It's kind of below a trend line, but it's such a new coin. I don't really say, oh, it's dead because it dropped below that trend line. But falling wedge, still within it. If it does come back down and tap into this 54-cent zone again, I think that would be an overwhelming steal. But I've been kind of stacking in along the way, this and Ondo. But I think we're about to see some pretty major moves in the market. And just, I don't know if you were on earlier, Matt. I kind of highlighted what you're talking about with the total market cap. And I also changed my charts. I'm using the total minus USDT minus USDC. But we got some ways to go here. This is the total target up here at 5 trillion, over 5 trillion. This is a total 3 minus USDT minus USDC. A beautiful trajectory here. And this shows the altcoins outside of Ethereum could, I mean, that is a major move. That's a 161% move up to that target. And that would represent some coins doing 100x, some doing 10, some doing 2. But I think bullishness, real bullishness, where we're all excited about the daily moves, as I think it's coming before we realize it. I think the market is doing what it regularly does. It makes people as frustrated as possible. Then when you get bored, it runs away from you. And it's not going to run away from anybody that's watching this stream or following Matthew or following Kevin, because we're going to keep you on the right side of the trend as long as you don't succumb to your emotions. But I got to wrap this because I got a phone call I got to hop on here in a second. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And I love you too as well. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Adios, muchachos.
Mm.